guys, I'm with Tyler today, and we are going to talk about one of the most important pieces of the golf swing, how to control the club face and what that brings to your golf swing. All right, so we deal with club face issues on a daily basis that makes the golf ball go all over the place, right? Left, right, too high, too low. Teaching a player to have a stable club face is one of the most important pieces of a golf swing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I want to talk, and I want everyone to learn about how wrist angles and grip matchups affect the club face, and then what a controlled club face will allow your body to do. So let's start by talking to everyone about how different grip types will match up with different wrist angles.
Right. I mean, so if you've got a traditionally weak grip, right, with that left hand turned further over to the left of that club, right, when you work everything down, that club face is going to want to be a little bit more open, right?
Sure.
So we're going to have to match that up by adding lead wrist flexion. Now, some people like how that feels.
Sure.
Some people don't. But all that matters is what's that club face doing. So if you're a player that has a weak left-hand grip and you struggle coming down in the downswing where we see that toe being very vertical to camera, right? And you struggle with the feel of getting everything turned down with that lead wrist into the shot, then you might want to go and strengthen that grip a little bit. So when you strengthen that grip and you turn that left hand over to the right, all right, and you come down, that club face is going to start to get a little bit more toe down, right? And so then we don't need as much left wrist flexion, that bowing of that left wrist, okay? And so from here, we can get everything working into the shot with that club face much more squared up and continue our body rotation, right?
So if we have we have to understand that we are, depending on how much speed a player has, looking to get that shaft to lean forward and get the loft on the club down.
For sure.
So unless you're doing something with your wrist, if you go from a normal setup position and then you start adding that forward shaft lean, that's going to open the face naturally.
Right, for sure.
So that's where the wrist angles come into play.
For sure.
And I think it's really important to understand that everything needs to be working towards flexion in some degree.
To some degree, yeah.
Correct. Now, the stronger the grip, obviously, the less flexion you need.
For sure.
So if we're looking to get forward shaft lean, do you want to put a lot of forward shaft lean on somebody that has a real slow swing speed?
Nope, you'll hit it 2 feet off the ground, man. You'll hit some little gopher killers.
Correct. So forward shaft lean would be a high speed player's game. The more speed you have, the more you want it leaning forward. So I think a good example of someone who gets good forward shaft lean and has a weak grip would be a Matthew Wolff.
Right, for sure.
So when he's working through impact, what are the keys for a guy like that to get that in square every time?
I mean, if you look at Matt, right, he's got a ton of lead wrist flexion. So does Colin Morikawa, right? They both have very weak left-hand grips. So for them, it's going to be super important for them to get that bowed down flexion of that lead wrist to get that club face to match backline coming down into P6. That's really what we're looking for, right? We're looking for, in a very stable rotary motion, we like to see that club face matching backline coming down into club parallel on the downswing, right? Now, some players can be more toe up, you know, you got your Adam Scotts, your more 2000 era, Tiger era guys, right, that we get a toe up and then late turn down into the shot, but there is turn down into the shot at some point.
Right? So if you're not looking to have a hard release of that club face with your arms through impact, you have to be handling that with wrist movement.
For sure, absolutely, absolutely. So if you have a release that isn't going to be overly done through the shot with the arms, right? We need to get that club face into a spot where what we're looking for is toe down matching backline here. The body is then going to do the work to release that club through the shot, and then we're going to have that club face again matching backline at just past P7.5, P8, right? So that tells us that that club face is actually, there's been very little closure in that club face. The rate of closure is very, very slow from there. So we're working everything through, and that club face is super passive because the body is doing the release for you and not the arms and forearms, right?
Sure. I hope that helps you guys understand club face control. And if you can get it under control, you change a lot of things with how your body works. Your entire pivot changes if the club face is under control. So hope that helps with your game. Thanks.